You have been lied to. They told you that freedom comes from the outside world, that if you find the right job, the right relationship, the right circumstances, you will finally be free. But I tell you this, a man who cannot command himself will never command anything else. You look around and wonder why your life does not match your dreams. You wonder why every resolution fades, why every promise you make to yourself gets broken, why you repeat the same patterns year after year, decade after decade. And I will tell you why. Because you have never been taught the most important truth of all. You are not weak, you are undisciplined. And discipline is not punishment. Discipline is not restriction. Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you were meant to become. Listen closely, because if you miss this message, you may live your entire life as a prisoner of your own impulses and die never knowing what you were truly capable of. Part 1, the invisible prison. You believe you are free. You wake when you want. You eat what you desire. You scroll. You watch. You consume. You choose your own path, or so you think. But answer me this. If you are so free, why can't you stop? Why can't you stop eating what destroys your body? Why can't you stop wasting hours on distractions that leave you empty? Why can't you keep a promise to yourself for more than 3 days? Why can't you wake early when you know you should? Why can't you focus when focus would change everything? I will tell you why. Because you are not free. You are controlled, not by a master outside of you, but by the master within you, the master of impulse, of comfort, of instant gratification. You have become a slave to every craving, every emotion, every fleeting desire. And the worst part, you call this freedom. True slavery is not found in chains. It is found in the man who obeys every urge without question, the man who cannot delay pleasure for 1 hour, the man who surrenders his morning to his bed, his evening to distraction, his future to momentary comfort. That man is not free. He is owned, and he is owned by the weakest version of himself. I have seen it 1,000 times. Men with dreams who cannot wake up, men with vision who cannot focus, men with potential who cannot execute. And when I ask them why, they give me excuses dressed as reasons. I'm tired. I'll start tomorrow. I'm just not motivated right now. It's too hard. But the truth they refuse to face is this. They have never developed the inner strength to command themselves. They wait for motivation like a beggar waits for coins. They wait for the right feeling, the right moment, the right conditions. And while they wait, their life slips through their fingers like water. Let me be clear. Motivation is a visitor. Discipline is a resident. Motivation comes when it pleases and leaves when it wishes. But discipline stays. Discipline builds. Discipline creates the life that motivation only dreams about. You must understand this law. The man who waits to feel ready will never begin. The man who begins without feeling ready will become unstoppable. So I ask you now, with complete honesty, what controls you? Is it your phone, your appetite, your comfort, your bed, your emotions, your fears? Whatever it is, understand this. Until you master it, it masters you. And a man who is mastered by anything cannot build anything of lasting value. Now affirm this aloud. Say it with force. I refuse to be controlled by impulse. I was born to command myself. My discipline creates my destiny. Say it again. Feel the weight of those words. Because if you cannot speak your freedom, you will never live it. Part 2, the myth of willpower. You have been told that willpower is a gift, that some people have it and some people don't, that discipline is for the strong and weakness is simply who you are. This is a lie designed to keep you powerless. Let me tell you the truth about willpower. It is not a trait, it is a muscle, and like every muscle, it can be trained, it can be strengthened. It can be developed through repetition, through resistance, through the daily practice of saying no to what is easy and yes to what is necessary. But here is what they never told you. Willpower is finite, but systems are infinite. The man who relies on willpower alone will always fail, because willpower burns out. It depletes. It weakens under stress, under temptation, under the weight of decision after decision. That is why most men fail their resolutions by February. That is why diets collapse, why morning routines fade, why promises to self are broken. They built their change on willpower alone, and willpower is a poor foundation. But the man who builds systems, the man who designs his environment, the man who removes temptation instead of resisting it every day, that man does not rely on strength. He relies on structure. Let me give you an example. You want to wake early, but every morning you hit snooze. You say, tomorrow I'll be stronger. But tomorrow comes, and you are the same. Why? Because you rely on willpower at the moment of weakness. But the disciplined man does not rely on morning strength. He builds the system the night before. He puts his alarm across the room, so he must stand to silence it. He lays out his clothes, so there is no decision to make. He writes his first task on paper, so his purpose is already decided. He goes to bed early, so his body is rested. He removes his phone from the bedroom, so distraction cannot steal his morning. Do you see? He does not fight the battle in the morning. He wins the battle the night before. This is the secret of self-mastery. You do not rely on strength in the moment. You design your life so that strength is not required. The weak man fights his cravings every day. The strong man removes the cravings from his environment. The weak man tries to focus in a room full of distractions. The strong man removes all the distractions before he begins. The weak man hopes he will be better tomorrow. The strong man builds the structure today that makes tomorrow inevitable. This is not theory. This is law. If you want to master yourself, you must stop relying on feelings and start building systems. Now, write this down. Make it your new truth. I do not wait for willpower. I build systems that make discipline automatic. And here is your first system, the evening command ritual. Every night before sleep, you will do this. Write tomorrow's 3 priorities, not 10, 3. The 3 actions that, if completed, will make tomorrow a victory. Remove every distraction from your path. Phone in another room, clothes laid out, workspace cleared. Speak your identity aloud. Say, I am a man of discipline. I do what I say. My word to myself is law. Visualize yourself completing tomorrow's tasks. See yourself waking. See yourself working. See yourself winning. Do this every night, without fail, without excuse, and watch how your mornings transform. Because the man who commands his evening commands his morning, and the man who commands his morning commands his life. Part 3. The law of small obedience. You want transformation. You want to become the disciplined man, the focused man, the man who executes without hesitation. But you make one critical mistake. You try to change everything at once. You wake up on January 1st and declare war on your entire life. You will wake at 5 a.m. You will exercise for an hour. You will eat perfectly. You will read for 30 minutes. You will meditate. You will journal. You will build a business. And by January 7th, you have collapsed. Why? Because you broke a law that governs all lasting change, the law of small obedience. Let me explain this law clearly, because if you miss it, you will spend your entire life starting over. The subconscious mind does not respond to grand declarations. It responds to consistent proof. When you make a massive promise to doubt yourself and break it, you do not just fail the task. You fail your identity. You teach your subconscious that you are not a man who keeps his word. And every time you repeat this pattern, the belief deepens. Your subconscious begins to expect failure. It begins to see you as the man who starts but never finishes. And once that identity is formed, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. But there is another way, a way that the disciplined few have always known. You do not build discipline by doing everything. You build discipline by doing one thing perfectly, repeatedly, until it becomes who you are. Let me tell you about the small obedience. If you cannot wake early, do not try to wake at 5 a.m. tomorrow. Instead, wake just 15 minutes earlier, and do it every day for 30 days. No exceptions. No excuses. Do you understand what happens when you do this? You prove to yourself that you are capable of keeping a promise. You prove that your word means something. You prove that you can command yourself. And when those 30 days are complete, your subconscious mind has been reprogrammed. It no longer sees you as the man who fails. It sees you as the man who keeps his word. And from that foundation, you can build anything. This is how empires of self-mastery are built, not through motivation, not through intensity, but through small, repeated acts of obedience to self. The man who can do one push-up every morning for 100 days straight is more disciplined than the man who does 100 push-ups once and never again. The man who reads one page every night for a year is more transformed than the man who reads an entire book in a weekend and never opens another. The man who writes one sentence every day for 6 months is a writer. The man who writes 10 pages once and then stops is still a dreamer. Consistency is the mother of mastery, and consistency is not built through heroic effort. It is built through humble obedience, through showing up, through doing the thing even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it, because every time you obey yourself when it is difficult, you deposit strength into your account, and over time, those deposits compound. They accumulate, they transform. So here is your second system, the single non-negotiable. Choose one discipline, just one, the one that, if you mastered it, would change everything. Maybe it is waking at a specific time. Maybe it is exercising for 10 minutes. Maybe it is reading for 15 minutes. Maybe it is writing 100 words. Maybe it is saying no to one specific weakness. Choose it, write it down, and commit to it for 30 days, no matter what, no matter how you feel, no matter what happens. Make this your law. For the next 30 days, I will your discipline. This is non-negotiable. This is my proof. And when you complete those 30 days, you will not be the same person. Your identity will have shifted. Your belief in yourself will have deepened. And your capacity for discipline will have expanded. Do not underestimate the power of small obedience. It is the foundation of all greatness. Part 4. The enemy within. You have external enemies. Distractions, temptations, interruptions, people who drain your energy. But these are not your greatest enemy. Your greatest enemy lives inside you, and until you face him, you will never be free. Let me introduce you to him. He has many names, but I will call him the inner saboteur. He is the voice that whispers when you are about to take action. You're too tired. You can start tomorrow. This won't work anyway. You've tried this before and failed. Just this once won't hurt. You deserve a break. He sounds reasonable. He sounds like your friend. He sounds like wisdom, but he is not your friend. He is your jailer. And every time you listen to him, you strengthen his voice. You give him authority. You make him the master of your decisions. Let me tell you something the weak will never understand. That voice is not you. It is the residue of every past failure, every broken promise, every moment you chose comfort over growth. It is the voice of your old identity fighting to survive. Because here is what most men do not realize. When you try to change, your old self does not die quietly. It fights back. It fights with doubt. It fights with fear. It fights with rationalization. It fights with every excuse it can manufacture to keep you exactly where you are. Why? Because your old identity is terrified of the new one. It knows that if you become disciplined, it will cease to exist. And so it will do everything in its power to stop you. This is the war you must win. Not the war against the world, the war against the voice inside you that tells you to quit. And you win this war, not by debating the voice, not by negotiating with it, but by refusing to obey it. Every time that voice speaks and you act anyway, you weaken it. Every time you feel resistance and you move forward anyway, you diminish its power. Every time you choose the hard right over the easy wrong, you reclaim your authority. Let me give you the weapon that defeats the inner saboteur, the 5-second decision. When you know what you should do, you have 5 seconds to move. Not 5 minutes, not 5 hours, 5 seconds. Because after 5 seconds, the saboteur takes over. He begins to argue. He begins to reason. He begins to plant doubt. But in those first 5 seconds, before the voice can speak, you still have authority. You still have power. You still have the ability to act. So when the alarm goes off, you have 5 seconds to stand. When the work must begin, you have 5 seconds to start. When the temptation appears, you have 5 seconds to turn away. Count it out loud if you must. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Move, and then move. Do not think, do not feel, do not debate. Just move. This is how you train yourself to act before the saboteur can speak. Now, let me give you the affirmation that silences the inner enemy. The voice of weakness is not my voice. I do not obey fear. I do not obey comfort. I obey my highest self. I am the master of my mind. Say this every morning. Say it before every difficult decision. Say it when the voice of sabotage speaks. And understand this: the inner saboteur never disappears completely, but he can be rendered powerless. He becomes powerless when you stop listening, when you stop negotiating, when you stop giving him authority over your actions. You do not need to defeat him forever. You only need to defeat him today, and then again tomorrow, and then again the next day. And over time, his voice will fade. It will become a whisper, and then it will become nothing, but only if you refuse to obey it, starting now. Part 5. The power of sacred standards. You have been taught to be flexible, to go with the flow, to not be too hard on yourself, to give yourself grace. And while there is wisdom in self-compassion, there is also danger in weakness disguised as kindness, because the truth is this: you do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your standards. Your goals are what you wish to achieve. Your standards are what you refuse to tolerate. And it is your standards, not your goals, that determine the quality of your life. Let me explain. You may have a goal to be healthy. But if your standard allows you to eat junk food whenever you feel stressed, your goal means nothing. Your standard is what you will live. You may have a goal to be wealthy. But if your standard allows you to waste hours every day, your goal is just a fantasy. Your standard is your reality. You may have a goal to be disciplined. But if your standard allows you to break promises to yourself just this once, you will never become that man. Your standard is who you are. Do you see it now? Your standards are the floor beneath you, and you cannot rise above a floor you refuse to build. Most men have no standards at all. They drift, they react, they let circumstances decide their behavior, and then they wonder why their life is chaos. But the self-mastered man, he builds sacred standards, and he defends them like a warrior defends his castle. What is a sacred standard? A sacred standard is a line you will not cross, a principle you will not violate, a behavior you will not tolerate in yourself, no matter the circumstance. It is not a wish. It is not a preference. It is a law, and laws are not broken without consequence. Let me give you examples of sacred standards. I do not lie, not to others, not to myself. My word is law. I do not break promises to myself. If I say I will do it, I do it. No exceptions. I do not consume poison, not in my body, not in my mind. I guard what enters me. I do not waste my mornings. The first hour of my day belongs to my highest self. I do not quit when it is hard. I quit only when it is wrong. These are not suggestions. These are standards, and the man who lives by them becomes unshakable. Now let me warn you. When you set a sacred standard, the world will test it immediately. You declare you will wake at 6 a.m. every day. The very next morning you will be more tired than ever. You declare you will not eat junk food. That same day, someone will offer you your favorite treat. You declare you will not waste time on distractions. Your phone will suddenly seem more interesting than it has in months. This is not coincidence. This is the universe testing your resolve. This is life asking, did you mean it? And this is where most men fail. They set the standard, face the first test, and break, and then they say, see, I can't do it. But the self-mastered man understands the test. He expects it. He welcomes it, because he knows that every time he upholds his standard under pressure, he becomes stronger. Every time you wake early when you want to sleep, you prove your standard is real. Every time you refuse the temptation when it would be easy to indulge, you prove your standard is real. Every time you keep your word to yourself when no one is watching, you prove your standard is real. And over time, those proofs accumulate. They build an identity. They create a man who cannot be moved, a man who cannot be tempted, a man who cannot be broken. This is the man you were meant to become. So here is your third system, the Sacred Standards Declaration. Write down 3 standards, not 10, 3, the 3 non-negotiables that, if honored, would transform your life. Write them in present tense. Write them as identity statements. Write them as if they are already true. For example, I am a man who honors his word. I do not break promises to myself. I am a man who guards his mornings. I wake with purpose, and I move with intention. I am a man who masters his appetites. I do not serve my cravings. They serve me. Write them, sign them, date them, and read them aloud every single morning. And then, every time you are faced with a decision that tests your standard, you will know exactly what to do. Because you are not deciding in the moment, you already decided when you wrote the standard. This is the power of sacred standards. They remove confusion. They eliminate negotiation. They make discipline automatic. And the man who lives by sacred standards does not need motivation. He has something far more powerful: integrity with himself. Part 6, the ritual of becoming. You have heard me speak of systems, of standards, of obedience. But now I must teach you the most powerful practice of all. I must teach you about ritual. The world mocks ritual. It calls it superstition. It calls it outdated. It says that what matters is results, not ceremony. But the world is wrong, because ritual is not about appeasing gods. Ritual is about programming the self. Every ritual you perform is a message to your subconscious mind. It is a declaration of identity. It is a statement of who you are and who you are becoming. And the subconscious mind responds to ritual far more powerfully than it responds to logic. Let me show you what I mean. When you perform the same action at the same time, in the same way, every single day, you are not just completing a task. You are building an identity. You are telling your subconscious, this is who I am. This is what I do. This is non-negotiable. And over time, the ritual becomes so deeply embedded in your identity that you do not need willpower to perform it. You do it automatically. You do it without thought. You do it because it is simply who you are. This is why the most disciplined men in history all had rituals. Marcus Aurelius began each day writing his meditations, not because he had to, because it was ritual. Benjamin Franklin asked himself each morning, what good shall I do today? And each evening, what good have I done today? This was ritual. Kobe Bryant arrived at the gym at 4 a.m. every day for decades. This was ritual. These men did not rely on motivation. They relied on ritual, and ritual made them unstoppable. Now, let me give you the 3 rituals that will transform your life. The morning ritual, the midday ritual, the evening ritual, the morning ritual, the awakening. This is how you will begin every day. Before you check your phone, before you speak to anyone, before the world makes its demands, this is sacred time. This is time for self. This is time for becoming. Here is the ritual. Wake at the same time, every day. Your body needs rhythm. Give it rhythm. Hydrate immediately. 1 full glass of water. This signals to your body that you are alive and awake. Move your body. 10 minutes. It does not matter what. Push-ups, stretching, walking. Just move. This releases the stagnation of sleep and activates your energy. Speak your identity aloud. Read your sacred standards. Read your affirmations. Say, I am a man of discipline. I keep my word. I command my life. Review your purpose. Read your definite chief aim. Read your 3 priorities for the day. Make them clear in your mind. Sit in silence for 5 minutes. No phone, no music, no input, just you and your breath. This is where clarity comes. This is where power is found. Do this every morning without fail, and your days will transform. The midday ritual, the realignment. The morning is easy. The evening is restful. But midday is when most men collapse. They lose focus. They drift. They forget who they are. This is why you need the midday ritual. At the same time every day, perhaps at noon, perhaps at 1 p.m., you will pause. You will step away from the chaos, and you will realign. Here is the ritual. Stop all activity for 5 minutes. Do not keep working. Do not multitask. Stop. Ask yourself 3 questions. Am I still on purpose? Have I honored my standards today? What must I do this afternoon to make today a victory? Speak your identity aloud again. I am a man of discipline. I do not drift. I do not waste. I execute. Take 10 deep breaths, slow and deliberate. This resets your nervous system and brings you back to center. Return to work with renewed focus. This ritual takes 10 minutes, but it saves hours of wasted effort. It keeps you aligned when the world is trying to pull you off course. The evening ritual, the review. This is where most men fail. They end their day with distraction, with screens, with mindless consumption. And they wonder why they wake up feeling empty. But the self-mastered man ends his day with intention. He reviews, he measures, he prepares. Here is the ritual. Stop all work and screens 1 hour before sleep. Your mind needs time to wind down. Give it that time. Review your day. Write in a journal. Answer these questions. Did I honor my standards today? What did I do well? What will I do better tomorrow? Prepare tomorrow's battlefield. Write your 3 priorities for tomorrow. Lay out your clothes. Clear your workspace. Remove all friction from your morning. Speak your affirmations one final time. I am a man of discipline. I am a close. Becoming the master of myself. Tomorrow I will rise and execute. Visualize tomorrow's victory. Close your eyes. See yourself waking with energy. See yourself completing your priorities. See yourself winning. Your subconscious mind does not know the difference between visualization and reality. Program it with victory. Sleep at the same time every night. Rhythm, always rhythm. These 3 rituals, morning, midday, evening, are the structure of self-mastery. They are how you train yourself to become the man you were meant to be. Do not skip them. Do not modify them until they are habit. Do them exactly as written for 30 days and watch what happens. Because ritual is not just action. Ritual is transformation. Part 7. The truth about pain. You have been taught to avoid pain, to seek comfort, to make life as easy as possible. And this teaching has made you weak. Because the truth no one wants to hear is this. Pain is the currency of growth. Every transformation requires pain. Every sungji of self requires discomfort. Every breakthrough demands that you endure what others will not. And the man who runs from pain will never become anything more than what he already is. Let me be clear. I do not speak of suffering for suffering's sake. I do not speak of self-harm or foolish injury. I speak of voluntary discomfort, the deliberate choice to do what is hard because it is hard. This is the secret that separates the disciplined from the weak. The disciplined man does not avoid discomfort. He seeks it. He welcomes it. He understands that every moment of discomfort is a moment of strengthening. When you wake early and your body screams to stay in bed, that is pain. And when you rise anyway, you have grown. When you choose the healthy meal over the craving, that is pain. And when you choose it anyway, you have grown. When you sit down to work and your mind begs for distraction, that is pain. And when you focus anyway, you have grown. Do you see the pattern? Every act of discipline is an act of pain embraced. And every time you embrace that pain, you expand your capacity. You become capable of more. You become stronger. But most men do not understand this. They believe that life should be easy, that if something is hard, they must be doing it wrong, and so they quit at the first sign of discomfort. They try to wake early. It feels terrible, so they stop. They try to exercise. It hurts, so they stop. They try to build something. It's frustrating, so they stop. And they spend their entire life in a comfortable prison, never knowing what they were capable of. Let me tell you about the men who changed the world. Not one of them was comfortable. David Goggins ran on broken legs because he understood that pain is temporary, but quitting lasts forever. Kobe Bryant trained through injuries because he knew that greatness requires sacrifice. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire while enduring chronic pain because he understood that the body may suffer, but the mind can remain free. These men did not avoid pain. They used it. They transformed it into fuel. They made it the foundation of their strength, and you must do the same. But here is what you must understand. There are two types of pain. There is the pain of discipline, and there is the pain of regret. The pain of discipline is temporary. It lasts for a moment, an hour, a day, but it builds something. It creates strength. It produces results. The pain of regret is permanent. It lasts for years, decades, a lifetime, and it builds nothing. It only destroys. You will experience one of these pains. You do not get to choose whether you experience pain. You only get to choose which pain you experience. Will you endure the pain of waking early or the pain of wasted years? Will you endure the pain of hard work or the pain of unfulfilled potential? Will you endure the pain of discipline or the pain of mediocrity? Choose wisely, because one pain leads to freedom. The other leads to a call. Lifetime of what if. Now, here is your practice, the daily voluntary discomfort. Every single day, you will do one thing that is uncomfortable, one thing that you do not want to do, one thing that makes you feel resistance. It could be a cold shower in the morning. It could be an extra set at the gym when you're already tired. It could be having the difficult conversation you've been avoiding. It could be sitting in silence when your mind craves distraction. It does not matter what it is. What matters is that you do it every day, without exception, because every time you voluntarily embrace discomfort, you are training yourself to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. You are teaching yourself that pain cannot control you. You are proving that you are stronger than your circumstances, and over time this practice transforms you. Things that once seemed impossible become routine. Challenges that once seemed insurmountable become opportunities. Pain that once made you quit becomes the signal that you're growing. This is the path of the self-mastered man, not the path of ease. The path of strength through struggle. Say this now and mean it. I do not run from pain. I run toward it. I embrace discomfort. I choose the pain of discipline over the pain of regret. I am becoming unbreakable. Part 8. The final truth. You are the master or the slave. We have come to the end, but this is not truly an end. This is a beginning. Everything I have taught you, the systems, the standards, the rituals, the embrace of pain, all of it comes down to one final truth, a truth so simple that most men miss it, a truth so powerful that those who grasp it become unstoppable. Here it is. You are either the master of your life or you are the slave to your life. There is no middle ground. There is no sort of disciplined. There is no trying to have self-mastery. You either command yourself, or you are commanded by everything else, by your emotions, by your cravings, by your fears, by your habits, by the opinions of others, by the circumstances around you. And until you make the decision, the real, permanent, non-negotiable decision to become the master, you will remain the slave. Let me ask you directly now, who is in control of your life? When you wake in the morning, who decides what you do? Your plan or your feelings? When temptation appears, who decides your action, your standards or your cravings? When the day gets hard, who decides if you continue? Your purpose or your comfort? Be honest, brutally honest. Because if the answer is anything other than I decide, then you are not yet free. But here is the good news. Freedom is not given, it is taken. No one will hand you self-mastery. No one will grant you discipline. No one will make you strong. You must take it. You must claim it. You must build it, brick by brick, day by day, decision by decision. And the moment you decide, truly decide, that you will no longer be controlled, everything changes. Not immediately, not all at once, but gradually, consistently, inevitably. The man who decides to master himself begins to walk differently. He speaks differently. He thinks differently. The world begins to respond to him differently, because the world does not respect wishes. It does not reward hopes. It does not bow to intentions. The world respects only one thing, demonstrated strength. And demonstrated strength comes from one source, the daily decision to command yourself. So, let me give you the final practice, the practice that brings all of this together, the practice that will determine whether you become the master or remain the slave. It is called the daily command. Every morning, before you do anything else, you will stand. You will speak these words aloud. You will say them with force. You will say them until you believe them. You will say them until they become you. I am the master of my life. No emotion controls me. No craving commands me. No fear stops me. I decide. I act. I build. Today, I honor my word. Today, I uphold my standards. Today, I execute my plan. I am disciplined. I am focused. I am unstoppable. I was not born to be comfortable. I was born to be powerful, and today I prove it. Say this every morning, and then live it every day. Do not wait for permission. Do not wait to feel ready. Do not wait for the perfect moment, because there is no perfect moment. There is only this moment, and what you do with this moment determines everything. Part 9, the battle of attention. You believe your greatest battle is against laziness, against procrastination, against weakness. But I tell you, your greatest battle is the battle for your attention. Because attention is not just focus. Attention is life itself. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. Where your energy flows, your life grows. And right now, in this very moment, there is a war being waged for your attention, a war you did not sign up for. A war most men do not even know they are fighting. Corporations spend billions to capture your attention. Algorithms are designed to hijack your focus. Every app, every notification, every advertisement is engineered to pull you away from what matters and into what profits them. And they are winning. Look around you. Men walking with their faces buried in screens. Men scrolling for hours without purpose. Men who cannot sit in silence for 5 minutes without reaching for distraction. These men are not free. They are captured. And they do not even know they are prisoners. Let me tell you what happens when you lose control of your attention. You lose control of your time, because attention is time made visible. You lose control of your thoughts, because what you focus on shapes what you think. You lose control of your emotions, because engineered content is designed to trigger you. You lose control of your actions, because scattered attention leads to scattered behavior. You lose control of your life, because a man who cannot control his attention cannot control anything. This is not theory. This is the reality of modern slavery. The chains are invisible, but they are real, and they are wrapped around the minds of billions. But you do not have to be one of them. You can take back your attention. You can reclaim your focus. You can become one of the few men who decides what enters his mind, instead of letting the world decide for him. Here is the law. Guard your attention like you guard your life, because it is your life. Every moment you give to distraction is a moment stolen from your purpose. Every hour you spend on someone else's content is an hour not spent building your own. Every day you let the world program your mind is a day you forget how to think for yourself. The self-mastered man understands this, and so he builds walls around his attention. Let me give you the practice, the attention audit. For the next 7 days, you will track every single thing you give your attention to. Every website, every app, every video, every conversation, every thought pattern. Write it down, measure it, be honest. And at the end of 7 days, you will see the truth of where your life is going, because your attention reveals your priorities. And your priorities reveal your destiny. When you complete the audit, you will ask yourself 3 questions. What am I giving attention to that serves my purpose? Keep this, protect this, increase this. What am I giving attention to that drains my energy without benefit? Remove this, block this, eliminate this. What am I not giving attention to that I should be? Add this, schedule this, commit to this, and then you will build the system that protects your attention. Delete every app that steals your focus. If you need it, access it through a browser with deliberate effort. Make distraction difficult. Turn off all notifications, every single one. You are not emergency personnel. Nothing requires your immediate attention except what you decide requires it. Set specific times for consumption. If you must check email, check it twice a day at scheduled times. If you must browse, give it 30 minutes in the evening, never in the morning. Never before your work is done, create phone-free zones. Your bedroom, your workspace, your meals. Reclaim these sacred spaces from digital invasion. Practice single tasking. When you work, work. When you eat, eat. When you speak with someone, be fully present. Stop splitting your attention. It is killing your effectiveness. Do you understand what happens when you take back your attention? You complete in 1 hour what used to take you 4. You think with clarity instead of confusion. You act with purpose instead of reaction. You build instead of consume. You become the creator instead of the spectacle. This is the power of mastered attention. And let me warn you, when you first take back your attention, you will feel pain. Your mind has been trained to need distraction. It has been conditioned to crave stimulation. And when you remove that stimulation, it will panic. You will feel bored. You will feel anxious. You will feel the urge to check, to scroll, to escape. This is withdrawal. This is your mind healing from addiction, and you must push through it. Sit in the discomfort. Let the boredom wash over you. Do not reach for the phone. Do not fill the silence. Just be. And after a few days, something miraculous happens. Your mind clears. Your creativity returns. Your focus sharpens. You remember what it feels like to think deeply, to work with flow, to be fully alive in the present moment. This is what they stole from you, and this is what you are taking back. Say this now: my attention is my power. I do not give it freely. I do not waste it carelessly. I guard it. I direct it. I command it. I am the master of my focus. Part 10, the power of solitude. You are afraid to be alone. You may not admit it. You may not even realize it. But the evidence is clear. You fill every moment with noise, with people, with screens, with sound, with anything that prevents you from being alone with yourself. And I tell you, until you can be alone with yourself, you will never truly know yourself. And until you know yourself, you cannot master yourself. Solitude is not loneliness. Loneliness is the pain of being alone. Solitude is the power of being alone. In solitude, there are no distractions, no masks, no performances, no pretending. It is just you and the truth of who you are. And most men cannot bear it. They cannot sit in a quiet room for 10 minutes without reaching for their phone. They cannot take a walk without headphones. They cannot eat a meal without entertainment. They cannot lie in bed without scrolling. Why? Because in the silence, they hear the voice they have been running from. The voice that asks, am I proud of who I am becoming? Am I living with purpose or just passing time? Am I building something meaningful or just existing? What am I avoiding? What truth am I refusing to face? These questions are uncomfortable, and so men fill their lives with noise to drown them out. But the self-mastered man does not run from these questions. He runs toward them, because he knows that the answers found in solitude are the answers that change lives. Every great man in history practiced solitude. Marcus Aurelius wrote his meditations in solitude, not for publication, for himself, to clarify his thoughts, to strengthen his mind, to remember who he was. Nikola Tesla spent hours alone, visualizing his inventions in complete detail before ever building them. He said that solitude was where genius was born. Jesus spent 40 days in the desert, alone, to prepare for his mission. Buddha sat under a tree, alone, until enlightenment came. These men understood what modern men have forgotten. Solitude is not a punishment. It is a privilege. In solitude, you hear your own voice instead of the world's. You discover what you truly believe instead of what you have been told to believe. You confront your fears instead of hiding from them. You design your life instead of accepting the life that was designed for you. But solitude is not passive. You do not simply sit and wait for insights to appear. You must bring intention to your solitude. Let me give you the practice, the sacred hour. Once a week, you will spend 1 hour completely alone. No phone. No books, no music, no distractions, just you. You will sit, you will walk, you will think, you will write. You will ask yourself the hard questions. Who am I becoming? What do I truly want? What fears are holding me back? What must I let go of? What must I build? And you will be honest, brutally honest, because no one is watching, no one is judging. It is just you and truth. In the beginning, this will be difficult. Your mind will race. You will want to quit. You will feel uncomfortable. But stay, breathe, allow the discomfort, because on the other side of that discomfort is clarity. On the other side is power. On the other side is the real you, not the version you perform for others, but the version that exists when all performance stops. And once you discover that version of yourself, everything changes. You stop living for approval and start living for purpose. You stop performing and start creating. You stop hiding and start showing up as you truly are. This is the gift of solitude. Now I will give you a more advanced practice, the day of silence. Once a month, you will spend an entire day in solitude and silence. No speaking, no consuming, no input. Just you and your thoughts. You will wake early. You will move your body. You will sit. You will walk. You will write. You will reflect. You will plan. You will meditate on who you are and who you are becoming. And at the end of that day, you will have gained more clarity than most men gain in a year, because clarity does not come from more information. It comes from more reflection, and reflection requires solitude. The world will tell you that constant connection is necessary, that you need to be available, that you need to stay informed, that you need to be productive every moment. But I tell you, the man who is always connected to the world is disconnected from himself, and the man who is disconnected from himself will always be lost, no matter how busy he appears. So build solitude into your life, protect it, schedule it, honor it, because the most important conversations you will ever have are the conversations you have with yourself in silence. Speak this truth: I am not afraid of solitude. I embrace it. In silence, I find clarity. In solitude, I find strength. I know myself, and therefore I master myself. Part 11, the law of identity shift. You think change is about doing different things, but that is not the deepest truth. Real change is about becoming a different person. You can change your habits for a week. You can change your schedule for a month. You can change your actions for a year. But unless you change your identity, you will always return to who you were. Let me show you why most change fails. A man decides to lose weight. He changes his diet. He starts exercising. He sees results, but after a few months, he returns to his old habits. Why? Because he never changed his identity. He still saw himself as a person trying to lose weight instead of a healthy person, and eventually his actions return to match his identity. A man decides to build a business. He works hard, he makes progress, but when things get difficult, he quits. Why? Because he never changed his identity. He still saw himself as someone with a job who's trying something on the side instead of an entrepreneur. And when his identity conflicted with his actions, his identity won. Do you see the pattern? Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. When you wake early, you cast a vote for, I am a disciplined person. When you keep a date promise to yourself, you cast a vote for, I am a person of integrity. When you choose the hard right over the easy wrong, you cast a vote for, I am a person of character. And over time, the person with the most votes wins. That becomes your identity, and your identity determines your destiny. But here is what most men miss. You can accelerate the identity shift by declaring it before it is true. This is not delusion. This is not fake affirmations. This is the spiritual law of becoming. You speak your new identity aloud, repeatedly, with emotion, until your subconscious mind accepts it as true. And once your subconscious accepts it, your behaviors automatically align with it. This is why I have given you affirmations throughout this teaching, because affirmations are not just words, they are programming. They are instructions to your subconscious about who you are becoming. Let me give you the formula for identity shift. Step 1, define your new identity. Who is the person you must become to live the life you want? Not what you want to do, who you must be. Write it down. Be specific. Write in present tense. I am a disciplined man who keeps his word. I am a focused man who guards his attention. I am a healthy man who honors his body. I am a purposeful man who builds with intention. I am a free man who masters himself. Step 2. Speak your identity daily. Every morning and every evening, speak your new identity aloud. Say it with emotion. Say it with conviction. Say it as if it is already true. Because to your subconscious mind, there is no difference between imagination vividly held and reality experienced. When you speak your identity with emotion repeatedly, your subconscious begins to accept it as fact. And once your subconscious accepts it, your behaviors change automatically. You no longer need willpower. You simply act as that person naturally acts. Step 3. Prove your identity through action. Every day, take at least one action that proves your new identity is real. If you are a disciplined man, wake at the time you said you would. If you are a focused man, complete your priority task without distraction. If you are a healthy man, make the choice that honors your body. Each action is proof. Each proof strengthens belief. Each strengthened belief makes the next action easier. This is how identity shifts from declaration to reality. Step 4. Eliminate identity conflicts. Here is where most men fail. They declare a new identity but hold on to behaviors from their old identity. They say, I am disciplined, but they still hit snooze. They say, I am focused, but they still scroll mindlessly. They say, I am healthy, but they still eat poison. These conflicts create internal war, and when identity conflicts with behavior, one must surrender. Usually, the behavior wins, and the identity dies, so you must audit your behaviors. You must ask, does this behavior match the identity I claim? If it does not, you must eliminate it, immediately, ruthlessly, without negotiation. Because every time you perform an action that conflicts with your identity, you weaken your belief in yourself, and belief is everything. Step 5. Surround yourself with proof. Your environment should reinforce your identity, not contradict it. If you are a disciplined man, your room should be ordered. Your clothes should be ready. Your workspace should be clear. If you are a focused man, distractions should be removed. Your phone should be silenced. Your priorities should be visible. If you are a healthy man, junk food should not exist in your home. Water should be accessible. Movement should be easy. Your environment is a mirror of your identity. And when your environment matches your identity becomes effortless. Now, let me give you the most powerful identity declaration of all. This is the declaration that encompasses everything I have taught you. I am the master of myself. I command my thoughts. I direct my attention. I guard my time. I honor my word. I keep my standards. I embrace discomfort. I act with purpose. I build with intention. I am disciplined. I am focused. I am free. This is who I am. This is who I have always been, and this is who I will remain. Say this every morning with power. Say it until you believe it. Say it until it becomes you. Because the moment your identity shifts, everything shifts. Your decisions become automatic. Your discipline becomes natural. Your power becomes undeniable. You are no longer trying to be disciplined. You simply are disciplined because that is who you are. This is the final transformation. This is the path from becoming to being. Part 12, the call to rise. We have reached the end of teaching. But this is not the end of the journey. This is only the beginning. Everything I have given you, the systems, the rituals, the laws, the practices, they are worthless unless you use them. Knowledge without application is just entertainment. So now I ask you, what will you do with what you have learned? Will you nod your head, say, that was interesting, and return to the same life you had before? Will you let this moment of clarity fade like every other moment of inspiration you have experienced? Or will you make a different choice? Will you decide right now, in this moment, that you are done being the man who waits, done being the man who wishes, done being the man who lives in comfortable slavery while calling it freedom? Because I tell you this with complete certainty, this moment right now is the most important moment of your life. not because of what I have told you, but because of what you will do next. You can close this teaching and do nothing, and if you do, nothing will change. You will be the same man tomorrow that you are today, and you will be the same man in 5 years that you are today. And you will reach the end of your life wondering what could have been, or you can decide right now that today is the day everything changes. Today is the day you stop negotiating with yourself. Today is the day you stop breaking promises. Today is the day you stop serving your weakest impulses. Today is the day you take back command. But understand this, the decision alone is not enough. You must act. You must move. You must prove to yourself that this time is different. So here is what you will do right now, before this moment passes. Step 1, write your declaration. Take out paper and pen. Right now, not later, now. Write these words. I, your name, declare on this day, today's date, that I am taking full command of my life. I refuse to be controlled by impulse, by comfort, by fear, or by weakness. I am the master of myself, and from this day forward, I will prove it through action. Sign it, date it. Keep it where you can see it. Step 2, write your 3 sacred standards. What are the 3 non-negotiable standards you will live by? The 3 lines you will not cross, no matter what. Write them. Make them clear, make them simple, make them unbreakable. Step 3, write your single non-negotiable. What is the one discipline that, if you mastered it for 30 days, would change everything? Write it, commit to it, starting tomorrow. Step 4, set your morning alarm. What time will you wake tomorrow? Decide now. Set the alarm. Put the phone across the room. Tomorrow morning is your first test, and you will pass it. Step 5, speak your identity aloud. Stand up right now. Yes, right now. Stand up wherever you are. And speak these words with force. I am a man of discipline. I keep my word. I honor my standards. I command my attention. I embrace discomfort. I master myself. This is who I am. This is who I choose to be, and nothing will stop me. Say it again, louder, with more power. Let the words penetrate your being, because this is not just a statement. This is a declaration of war against every weak habit, every broken promise, every moment of drift that has controlled your life until now. And today, you win the first battle by deciding, by declaring, by beginning the final warning. I will leave you with one final truth, a truth that is both a warning and a gift. No one is coming to save you. Not your parents, not your friends, not your spouse, not your government, not your circumstances, not time. No one is coming to give you discipline. No one is coming to hand you self-mastery. No one is coming to make your life what you wish it would be. If your life changes, it is because you changed it. If you become disciplined, it is because you built discipline. If you master yourself, it is because you refuse to remain a slave. This is the loneliest truth, and it is also the most liberating, because it means you do not need permission. You do not need perfect circumstances. You do not need anything except the decision to begin, and the power to decide is already within you. It always has been. You have simply been afraid to use it. But fear is a liar. Fear tells you that you cannot change, that you have tried before and failed, that you are not strong enough, not disciplined enough, not capable enough. But I say to you, you are capable of far more than you know. The man you see in the mirror is not the man you truly are. He is only the man you have been. And who you have been does not determine who you become. Who you become is determined by the decisions you make today and every day after. So I leave you with this. Will you remain the slave, or will you become the master? Will you continue to drift, or will you take command? Will you let another year pass in the same patterns, or will you start today? The choice is yours. It has always been yours, and it will always be yours. Choose wisely. Choose now. Choose power, because the world does not need more men who know what to do. The world needs more men who do what they know, and today you become one of them. Rise. Your journey begins now.